It would appear that plants are making another European shakeup. Make sure you guys smash the like, grab button, that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. You know, it's just not an exciting event out here unless we have plants of all things making a shakeup and showing, hey, you know, this deck still appears to be the European special. So this regional was actually out of Portugal. And the thing that caught my attention here was obviously plant was the big like surprise factor for this event. And of course, wherever there's a European event, you're going to see a plant player showing up and people are going to be looking around going, oh boy, plants, like what am I supposed to do? Well, unfortunately, the deck does get its, you know, abilities to get off the ground relatively easily. And kind of looking at a format like this, I mean, the deck was able to top 8, which is actually pretty strong. Now, the standard contender in the room was actually triple Ryzeal, and this was Ryzeal Fiendsmith, actually, and it looks like that deck has kind of become a little bit more of the mainstay powerhouse out here, just strictly because the Fiendsmith package is actually kind of the nuts. Once you engage with that engine, you're off to the races. We also had one Maliss out here. Maliss actually seeing the basic groundwork of what you're expecting to see. Unfortunately, a Maliss deck was like near the bottom of top 8, which is kind of interesting. But we also had a Yubel challenger stepping into the arena out here. I thought Yubel had been long since lost to the chasm of time, but no, looks like that build is doing just fine. And we also had a Kashtira deck stepping into the light out here as well, showing us that, hey, this deck can also do something. And of course, we had a Labyrinth deck as well. So, I mean, out of all of this stuff, you had 6 Fiendsmith packages present in these top cuts, which is so insane to be thinking about out here, that Fiendsmith package is driving that much of this meta in such a really weird and not good direction. But that's just kind of what we're expecting to be seeing out here as this meta continues to develop. But hey, I mean, it looks pretty decent to me. Let's pass on over to decklist. Starting things off here is probably going to be the continuation of your cookie cutter Ryzeal deck out here. As you know, you're still seeing this Fiendsmith package continuing to develop, and probably one of the not better lights as of the competitive stream continuing on out here. But I mean, your full package is still the full 10 Ryzeal monsters as you expect. 1 Lacrima, and of course the triple engraver themselves doing all the little craziness out here. But we're also maximizing on Nibiru's, and I see that we went a little bit different of a route out here. We actually chose to play the Moonlit Chill in here, which is actually kind of an interesting choice. But I mean, if your opponents watch summons, I mean, you just go ahead and ping them with this. So, you know, it's this game is kind of turning into a lot stronger of hand traps, but this also ensures, you know, you can ping your opponent down on some life, and congratulations, you know, you can actually kind of go a little bit further with things. In terms of side deck, I mean, Lantias are pretty much mandatory at this point for Maliss, because that deck, once it actually goes, is kind of insane. But you've also got, you know, the thrust with the triple tax, and of course the dimensional barriers to kind of wrap up, you know, anything your opponent might be trying to really throw at you. You know, this deck, very, very, very cookie cutter, like I said. I would like to see a little bit of changes to this, but I think for the next 3 months, this is pretty much what you're going to be seeing. I don't think that this build's going to adapt towards Rexstrom Tremende either. As much as we might think Rexstrom Tremende might be a savior out here for the development of this, I really am kind of doubting it. So congratulations on winning your event. Now, not really too much of a change in structuring here, but I mean, here's your full Fiendsmith package. Congratulations. We're still doing that. But in terms of what modern era Yubel is attempting to do, I still see that we are only playing 1 copy of Nightmare Pain. I feel like this hasn't really changed all that much and probably isn't going to change anytime soon. I see that we are still maximizing on every other good piece you need. We're going with the 2-track, which is fine. Still seeing the Escape of the Unchained in here. Okay, I see. We're doing this instead of the Monster Reborn. Okay, maybe this is a little bit more appropriate now. Actually, having the pop matter is probably going to be relevant. And of course, I see we're playing the Chaos Hunter down here as well. You know, for as much as I've seen people talking about, hey, you know, Chaos Hunter's actually just the secret sauce, this format, you really haven't seen a lot of this kind of taking off. It's been discussed, but I haven't, what I would say, felt like I've seen a good amount of dedication to this. It's just kind of there. I guess this is kind of cool now, because now with Phantom Limited, I mean, now you can officially slot in like all of this. You no longer have to worry about, you know, these things kind of fighting for slots in your deck. So I guess that's one good piece of news that we have out here is with these recent changes, you don't have to fight for the 1 to 2 of extra slots that you really need. Also, Mannequin Cat, I guess in like a situation where like we can get 2 Dark Beckoning Beasts, but that's kind of cute, I guess. All right, what else we got? Oh, yes, some Kashtira Fiendsmith. I was feeling completely dangerous today, I guess, Duelist. Why does this package just work? Why is the Fiendsmith stuff just so able to be molded so easily into these decks, and it just works out so amazingly well? Now, I see we've also adapted the ability to play Dominus Purge in this deck, which is very, very, very bad for game design. Because, you know, hey, let's go ahead and get all of our stuff. Someone's rolling on up here. And, you know, congratulations. I mean, you're just getting this to stick. I also see we've gotten a little bit saucier down here. We're actually playing the Solemn Scolding in here with this. Now, in a situation, depending on where it's going to be, I mean, the only thing that you should be even remotely interacting with, I mean, you're not going to set this because, you know, it's a free activate from the hand, which is fine. You've got these, I guess you could set depending on the thing, and like if you're drawing this, well, whatever. So the Solemn Scolding's probably going to be your only back row about 95% of the time if it's actually rolling up and mattering. So kind of something to think about out here is, you know, is Scolding actually going to be a relevantly important card? I do think it is in some situations. You will want to see this card. That's why, you know, we're choosing to side deck it out here, because once this card actually establishes itself and locks you in, you're good to go. All right, what else we got cooking back here? Ooh, we have our plant pile. Now, I do see that we were dedicating 60 big ones to this deck. That's a little bit rough. I do not like the fact that we are playing 60, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably the best thing you can have. Your hand traps are definitely going to be your strong basis. I see we've also got, for the board breakers now, you got the Dark Ruler No Mores. You got the Book of Eclipses. We've been forced into this situation now. You have to be playing all of these strong board breaker cards, or you're going to have a problem. Because if you can turn off Mr. Dreadnader Man, you know, with like blasting it with like a Dark Ruler No More, and you can kind of go through in the motion and actually play the game, you're probably going to be in a very good position. That's the reason why, like, a deck like this, I can understand how it's able to work and do its thing. I also see, hey, we're playing triple copies of Blink Out again. I love when Blink Out actually gets the chance to show up. This is one of those funny little cards that you look at and you're like, oh, hey, you know, free link bounce. Okay, we'll take that. And of course, since we are doing all the thrust, I see we have all the 1-ofs in the world to be able to toggle in. And of course, ooh, a little Rose Whip. Okay. What else we got? Oh, we have more Ryzeal Fiendsmith, and this is what I was talking about. Somebody get the stapler. It's Cookie Cutter. Every one of these lists is going to look massively the same, continuously across the board. That's fine. Standard 10, I see this list was feeling spicy today. We were playing 2 copies of Engraver. Didn't want to brick on too many of the bad cards. I see that we're going with the 2 Tract in here, which is fine. We've also got the triple Metaltronus in here. We've learned that Metaltronus, repping away a detonator, ends up being relatively broken where it needs to be. You know, you're basically relying on this stuff to do the thing. Also, 1 Ryzeal crossed the 1 copy of this. You know, there's no point in this build. You know, no Desires. We're long since past the era of playing Desires in this deck, or at least in this version. I also see that we're side decking the crossouts down here. This is one of those situations that if you need the crossouts, you've got them available to you. If not, well, you're off to the races to establish and go to where you need to be. In our last list here was actually our Maliss deck. Now, surprisingly enough, this deck actually chose to play the shifters in the main, which is a little bit against what we've been seeing in a lot of the meta developing out here, because, you know, shifter becomes a little bit harder to navigate some of those boards, but I guess in a situation where you're able to set up something relatively strong is fine. Of course, 7 names. Not really going to be anything too cheesy with that. Also see, you know, we are playing the triple Allure of Darkness with this. It's interesting because I figured maybe you wanted to consider the other Chessy Cat in order to try to generate all this advantage. Standard lineup here, we're playing 2 Impulse, okay. We also have some Phantasmes in case we do run into the mirror match. And we've also got Book of Eclipses because, you know, we don't want Dreadnader getting off the ground. We want to make sure we can interrupt that thing and not allow it any sort of chance to really play the game. Also, there's the thrust for the good card. Yes, I too Love Yu-Gi-Oh! And of course, I see we're playing the pack bin, so the Meteorologic. Okay, that's kind of cool. So what do you guys think about this regional? Please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.